guys, CJ Real coming to you here on November 19th, 2024. Hope everybody's going to have a great day today. Alright guys, before I get into the video, I'm just going to say that all this is alleged. I have no proof, I have no evidence. It's just my opinion of what I'm putting together, seeing what's out here in the mainstream media. This is totally my opinion. And in the United States of America, we have the right of free speech to give our opinion. So this is just what I'm thinking myself here. Oh man, I tell you, this is how far our society has fallen. Concerning this P. Diddy situation going on now. I think his trial's like May 17th or something like that, 2025. But we actually have in our society, how is this possible? Now, bribery is against the law. As far as I know, bribery has always been against the law. And we have even high-profile celebrity attorneys and all these people connected to all these celebrities and Diddy and everybody else that's coming on national TV and on YouTube and everywhere else. And they're basically coming out and they're saying, hey, that we got these sex tapes, these party tapes, such and such of certain individuals. And if they don't want to be, you know, have their names come out about the involvement or maybe just being there or whatever, then you need to get a hold of me, the high power attorney, and you need to have a bunch of cash ready so we can buy the tapes, so we can protect your name, get you out of this situation. Total bribery. How in the hell are all these people not being arrested? And it's just like all over YouTube now, where you have all these people that come out and say, yeah, I got all this information, I got these tapes, I got these videos, I was an eyewitness. But you know what, if you don't want your name coming out about being associated with this, then you need to, you know, come up with $50, $100, $200,000 so I can keep you out of this. This is unlawful. How is this just going on all over the freaking place? Oh, you know, that's like saying, oh, I seen some guy rape 3 girls, and I got a video on that, but instead of turning that over to the FBI or the police or whoever's running this Diddy prosecution, I can keep it out of their hands and we can cover this up and get you out of this if you just have $200,000 or $300,000 in cash to bring me. What a bunch of crap. These people are no better than the criminals that did the sex acts. You'd think that upstanding, moral people would give every bit of this information that they have. You know, even if you don't trust the police and the FBI and the prosecutors and all that, then just come out with it yourself. Put it out there for the world to see. Stop trying to play games and make money off something, somebody's misery, somebody's crime, somebody's whatever. And you're trying to get a big payday off this situation, then you are no better than the rapist yourself. It's just a bunch of crap. I don't get it. How all this stuff is just floating around out here all over the internet. All these people that are trying to bribe and strong-arm people that could have been at a party that maybe didn't even do nothing wrong. But you know what? We can put your name in the hat of the wrongdoers, unless, you know, you want to shell out some big money, and then we can possibly keep you out of here. Now that big attorney, I can't remember his name, the one that's representing a bunch of the victims, he's saying, well, if you were at the party, you know, there's so much to talk about here. If you were at the party and you knew you'd been at the parties before and you knew everybody was going to be drugged and you was willing to be drugged and except everybody else was going to be drugged, I'm sure Diddy, you know, he's got all the video footage of all the sex acts and all that, but he's probably got video footage of him telling everybody, well, you got to do these things. You got to drink the drink with the drugs in it. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do the other. If you want to stay and hang around the party. And if somebody is told that, and then they go ahead and proceed to trust him and drink the drinks and do the drugs and everything else, then is it really, you know, his fault? I guess, you know, there's some deception here if he gave somebody some champagne with the drug in it and just told them it was champagne. But this is going to be hard to prove. This is going to be hard to prove for a lot of people. Some of the problems we got with the Diddy cases. We got some other people, some of the victims, professed victims of Sean Combs, P. Diddy. They were on video admitting that they have been involved in prostitution. They had pimps. They've been out here working the sex, and I don't know is prostitution legal in California or Nevada or wherever, but all these other places stuff went down. I don't know for sure. I don't think open prostitution is legal in any state. So that's one problem we got, is that some of these so-called victims have got up here and said they were involved in prostitution. They were sex workers. They go to parties. They go to all these places. They get paid to have sex. Now, when they go in and they're paid to have sex, they're going in and they're doing the drugs willingly on their own. These are criminals. You know, when you possess a drug, and you know, when you're doing drugs, of course, you got to possess the drug in your hands before you do the drugs, and that's a criminal offense. And so what these people are is they are criminals. They're going to have a hard time proving that they were victims because they are criminals themselves. And I can say, well, you know what? If I went to a party and there was somebody in there that I liked and they had a bunch of drugs, and I could go in there and get just as high on these drugs as I wanted till I was almost passed out, completely out of my mind, and then I have sex with people and all that, and I can barely remember it because I was barely awake and aware and cognizant of everything going on. And I didn't say no, and I didn't try to stop it or nothing like that. That's called consensual sex, they say, right? Okay? But then if you go into a drug den and you're doing the drugs, you know, on your own knowledge and this and that, you know, I'm sure all these sex workers knew they were going to be drugged up when they got to the party. You know, they've been to the, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these parties before. They knew the deal. They knew they were going to be doing drugs. You know, when you do drugs, there's always a chance that you're going to do too much drugs because you don't know about the drugs, because all the drugs are a little bit different strength, or they got something this and there and that, and you don't really know because you didn't mix the drugs, you didn't put the drugs together. You know, there's different purities of drugs and this and that and the other. So anytime you get involved with drugs, hardcore drugs, there's always a chance that you're going to do too much and you're going to pass out and you might even die. So you go to the party, and let's say you're at one of the freak house, and you're in there and they're saying, hey, baby, come on in here and do some drugs with me. So you go in and you say, okay, yeah, I'm willing to do the drugs. Hand me the drugs. I'll do the drugs. Well, that right there, how do you know that they drugged you and passed you out because you willingly took drugs? You might have took too many drugs yourself and passed out. See? And then once you pass out, you know, because you can't fully remember what happened, right? You know, all these other times you were almost passed out, but not quite, so you could remember a lot of it, and you didn't tell them no, and it was consensual. But this time you don't really remember everything, you know. So you don't know if you consented to it or not, and you're thinking, well, if I don't remember it, then I wasn't awake. I couldn't have consented to it. Well, many people are really, really high, and they are blacked out on their feet. I mean, I've got drunk before where I've been out here talking to people and doing things, and I didn't remember it the next day. So when I get on the stand, the prosecutor's going to say, well, hey, you were doing drugs, wasn't you? Yes, I was. How many drugs did you do? Well, I did this many. Well, do you know the purity of the drugs? Do you know exactly what was in the drugs and all this? No, sir, I didn't. Well, usually people that do drugs, they don't own a coca farm where they raise the cocaine plants or the poppy plants or whatever drug they're doing, and they don't raise those plants from the ground, and then they actually do scientific tests on the purity of the stuff and what the this and that and the other is, so that anytime you do a drug, you don't know. So they're going to say, well, you consented to do drugs even though you did not know that you might pass out from the drugs. And you say you passed out. Well, you don't remember. No, I don't remember. Well, all the people that were there that you're saying that screwed you and raped you, they're saying that you were awake and that you were aware and that you did consent to this stuff. And you're not going to be able to prove that you was awake or if you were passed out. See, we got big problems with a lot of these accusers. And the problem is we got criminals acting like they're innocent people when they're out here prostituting and running with gangs and doing drugs all the time, and probably even trafficking drugs themselves and trafficking the sex and making money off the criminal enterprise. But now something didn't go their way and there's a chance to get a big payday. So now we got to say, Diddy screwed us over, like you were an innocent virgin that had no, you didn't have any knowledge of what goes on at these things or at these big Hollywood parties and all this stuff, even though you're a sex worker, but you were so innocent. You've never had sex, you were basically a virgin, and you went to this place and you did more drugs than, you didn't know the purity of the drugs, and you willingly took the drugs and you got high on the drugs and you didn't know what you were doing. Chances are you probably did know what you were doing, and chances are you probably did consent to what was going on. You might have been high out of your mind, or you didn't really know what you were consenting to, but you consented. When you stepped in the door on the property, you consented. When you stepped into the party and you knew there was going to be a bunch of wild sex and drugs going on, when you stepped onto the property and you knew that you were going to get paid a big, $2,000 to come in there and sex up with a bunch of people and do a bunch of free drugs, or even sell drugs and make even more money, you consented to everything. But oh my God, I didn't consent to getting raped. Well, maybe. A lot of people are going to give me flack for this, but maybe if you're a sex worker and you're doing all this perverted sex, because they would talk about how all these people that they've had sex with are so pervy and such perverts and all the weird and wacky and totally bizarre sex stuff they like to get into, but they did it because they wanted to make the money. Well, maybe they like it a little bit. See? Maybe you didn't mind being raped. maybe you weren't raped, but in your mind you just wanted to think you were being raped because maybe you were being turned on. See, that's the thing, is we got all these people that get up here and talk about all the perverts. You know, yeah, I'm a sex worker, and I go out here and I do all these perverted, weirdo, bizarro sex things to make money, but I'm not weird, I'm not perverted, I'm not a sex freak, I'm not doing kids, I'm not, getting gang raped, I'm not doing all this stuff. It's just a bunch of bullshit. So we got that problem. Another problem we got is you can't tell me that this has been going on for 25, 30 years, and the government, the state authorities, the local authorities, all these people, you can't tell me they did not know this was going on. You know, I predicted on January 6th, when they started arresting all the people that didn't even go in the building, that were just standing outside the building, the Capitol building, on January 6th, I said, well, you know what? They know every single person that was there, and they're probably going to go after people that might have been going to the rally on January 6th, because they know who's coming. You know, they got the AI prediction software. They can track every car. They can track every phone. They can track everybody. So they knew how many people was coming up there, way before it happened, right? Oh, we got all these cars. We got 6 ways to get here, and we got a lot of traffic on all these, so chances are that there's going to be a lot of these people coming to the Capitol, right? Just so happens that some guy got within 50 miles of the Capitol, and, he's been driving for 300 miles, so the trajectory here, and, probably all the onboard in-the-car cameras and recording apparatuses and everything that got everybody saying, oh, yeah, we're going to the Capitol. Plus, they were talking on their phones to their loved ones or buddies or relatives or friends or whoever and saying, yeah, we're on the way to the Capitol. Thing is 50 miles before we got to the Capitol, well, the damn car broke down. The car broke down, and we, couldn't get the car fixed. And so we didn't get to make it to the Capitol. And I said what they were going to do is they was going to arrest people that were going to the Capitol that never even made it to the Capitol. And then later on, what came up was there was a guy at the Capitol outside the building, never went in the building. He was outside, and he was talking to a guy in another state on the phone. And they arrested the guy on the phone in another state that never even showed up to the Capitol. Never was involved in a damn thing. And they found out who that guy was, and they went and arrested him. But somehow they don't know this major, sex, trafficking, porno, bizarro, whatever it is, drug running ring, all this stuff, hundreds of pounds of cocaine and meth and all the other drugs over the years, probably gets up into a couple of 1,000 pounds to provide all the cocaine and all the this and all of that and the other. And, you're supposed to have a doctor's prescription to get the Viagra, but, we can just buy, tens of thousands of Viagra pills. Well, hundreds of thousands of Viagra pills. We can just buy them with no problem. See, it's none of all these things run red flags. We got to have, I need 3 kilos of cocaine for the party I got coming up. No red flags nowhere. No, nothing. So all these people knew, the government knew, the CIA knew, the FBI knew, everybody knew. All the politicians knew. A lot of them were in on it. They were going and having fun. But for some reason, it went under the radar for 25 or 30 years. Bullshit. So, just like with Epstein, I said there's probably more people, involved in this one. But I think there's more politicians and big power people involved in this. So, there's no wonder that everything is really slow to dribble out all the information, all the names, all the arrest warrants and everything else, right? And, I guess the government and all these people, they're going to probably want to try to combine. We got 3,000 people suing them. We got to combine it all, and then that way we can just give Diddy a sentence. No, we got to go one by one by one by one. If I was a victim of that, because surely there were some victims, a lot of victims, and if I was a victim of that, there's no way I can get justice if if somebody that did this criminal act on me is lumped in with a bunch of other people. No, I need individual justice. That's what we got to have. And I think if you rape somebody, it's probably got to be 5 or 10 years in prison, 7 years in prison, whatever. Well, times that by about 300, right? So it just shows you right here that everybody knew. All the people that needed to know knew. There's no question. You can't hide all this stuff. You can't hide all the drugs. You can't hide all the money. You can't hide all the baby oil and all the crap they were doing. You just can't hide it. It's too freaking big. It's too big. Maybe if you just did one every year or two, maybe you could hide it. But if you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 a year for 10, 20, 30 years, you think you're going to be able to hide that? No. And they knew. There's no question. We got AI now. Why can't they use AI? They got everybody going through everybody's damn phones, finding every damn single thing, but they can't go through these, apparently these phones are off limits for some reason. No. I mean, that's a pretty good drug dealer when you can buy, a kilo of cocaine every couple of months, every few months or a couple of months, and you do that for 30 years and you never ever get busted. How's that work? How's that happen? See? It's total bullshit, man. Total bullshit. So there are a lot of questions. I mean, we already know the answer to a lot of the questions, right? There's no way this guy should ever be out of prison ever again. Everything he owns should be confiscated right now. I mean, I don't know if there's enough grand jury evidence for 10 victims that have been raped and abused, and a lot of these are kids. Let's go with the minors first. If there's 10 minors that have been raped and abused when they were underage, when they were minors, then there's credible grand jury evidence, then every bit of this guy's money and assets should be frozen, taken into account by the federal government. This guy should not have $1 to do anything with. Because, if he's got $600 million, I don't know how much the guy's worth, but if he's got $600 million and there were 10 kids that had their lives destroyed over this, got their butts ripped open because of some maniac like this, then hey, let's take the $600 million and we'll divide it by the 10 kids and we'll give them $60 million apiece. How about that? Do you think these people will learn their lesson then? See, that's the problem. No, we won't. Oh, they got really hurt. We're going to give them $500,000 or $1 million each. No, that's not enough for 25, 35 years of destruction of some young person. No, that doesn't work. And that's the problem with all these pedos, with all these sexual perverts and deviants out there, is they're so rich and they got so much money and they say, well, you know what, if I get found out, all I got to do is shell out, I got $3 or $4 billion, all I got to do is shell out, $3, $4, $5 million. And it's all swept under the rug and nobody gives a damn anymore, and we don't care if the child's life is totally wrecked for, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We don't care. We pay the fine, we don't go to jail, we settle out of court, because there ain't a court that's going to convict any of these people, and then we just get to do whatever we want. So, it's dirty. The whole damn thing's dirty. The whole thing's dirty. Now what about the parents? What about the parents that drop the kids off? What? Are you kidding me? I mean, if I had a 6, 8, 10, 12-year-old, there's not many people that I would drop him off to and trust them. I mean, I would have to know them a long time, right, to be able to trust them with my kid or kids. But you got some parent that's told, hey, yeah, I just met you over the phone, for 20 minutes, and I seen your kid on some show, and I seen him singing. Well, why don't you just send him out here, and I'll take care of him, and we'll make him rich, and we'll make him a star. And the parents, we'll go ahead. The plane ticket's going to be $1,000 out here and $1,000 back. So we'll go ahead. And that's $2,000, and we'll go ahead and we'll send you a check for $5,000, and that way you can, pay for the ride out here and pay for the ride back, and you still got a few $1,000s in your pocket. Well, yeah, gee, that sounds good. You must be for real. Yeah, you're really gonna make them a star because you're giving us a few $1,000s, and then they let the kids go. Like, who does this crap, man? Who does this crap? The best cases it looks like that they're going to have is where they pulled in individual people, here and there, singularly, and they brought them in, and then they drugged them, and then they raped them. Now, in those cases, there's probably going to be, maybe a little more evidence. I don't know. I guess a lot of these people did go to the hospital after they were raped and beat up and all this stuff and drugged up. And all P. Diddy's going to say is, well, they know how I am. They knew who I was and how I am. And they knew that there was going to be drugs. They knew there was going to be sex. They knew there was going to be all this perverted crap going on. And they chose to come in, and they consented to every bit of it. They consented to drinking the laced champagne, to doing the drugs, to, participating in the orgies and this, that, and the other. They were fine without here participating in the orgies. But then when they went to another room and did a little bit more drugs and sort of got knocked out a little bit, and then they got raped in their butthole and their butthole tore open, well, I didn't consent to that. See, this, it's like, I'm just half debauchery. I'm not for the full debauchery. I'm just for, I can go 3/4 of the way with the debauchery, but I can't go that last quarter. See, there's going to be a lot of trouble, a lot of problems for a lot of these people out here testifying. I mean, you've seen the girls in the videos who have been dared to get paid to have sex with people and all that, and they've been at the parties, and then all of a sudden you're raped. Well, how can you be raped when you're getting paid to have sex at a party? Unless you got a contract that says, well, this is the exact kind of sex I'm willing to have, and if it goes beyond that, then I don't consent to it, and now we can sue you. See, I don't think these contracts exist, and it's going to be hard for a lot of these people. I mean, these women that's got up here that are prostitutes, that are whores, that are shady drug dealers and drug users, that are willing to go in here and get paid a little bit of money and do a bunch of drugs and all that to get naked and everything else. And, you know, some of them say, oh, you know, I was farmed out and sold out by a pimp and all this stuff, and I was forced to do all this and that and the other. Well, were you forced to do it for 5 years? I mean, there's no way ever that you had a chance to escape this life. See, it doesn't add up. If you fear for your life, if you absolutely hate and are disgusted with what they are making you do, then the first chance you see an opportunity to run and get the hell out of there, that's what you would do. You wouldn't just live with it for 3, 4, 5, 6 years while you're, oh, I'm getting abused. I'm forced to have sex with all these people and animals and da-da-da and all this stuff. And then you leave the party. I guess, I don't know, when everybody's at the party and they're doped up, you mean you can't find a way to slip out of the party and get the hell out of there? I'm not buying a lot of this crap. And it's just a real black stain on not only Hollywood. Hollywood, as we see, all of it's coming out for Hollywood for the last 70, 80 years has been corrupted and turned into a bunch of perverts. But it's a stain on America. It's a stain on our culture. It's a stain on the American way of life, and we don't like it. And that's why all these people involved in every way, I mean, we need to hire a lot more honest people and get all these people who are coming out here and trying to make money off of some real legitimate person's misery. And I'm sure there's going to, I seen something where they had 12,000 people call in one day when that lawyer got up representing the victims. And they said in 24 hours, there was 12,000 calls, and they said they were looking at 3,000 cases. And right now, I think he's got like 120 people he's representing. But there's going to be a lot, a big, high percentage of those people coming forward saying they were raped and da-da-da and this, that, and the other. And, you know, they put themselves in these positions and they went along with it. And then at the end, you know, I walked 9 miles, and then that last 10th of the mile, I didn't really want to walk. And they forced me to walk it. See, how you going to prove that, right? Because you were willing to walk the first 9 miles. But then the last mile got a little bit rough and you decided you didn't want to do that. How you going to prove it? See, you know, I only stole 90,000. I didn't know there was 100,000 there. I only stole 90,000. I didn't steal the last 10,000. See, this is the kind of crap we got going on. So you hear Nancy Grace, she's talking about, oh, P. Diddy's got new accommodations. He's in a different part of the jail, and he has access to a peephole where he can watch female inmates show their breast and all this stuff, and she's outraged by that. But she's not outraged that he has physical contact with other male inmates. And the guy's gay. But no problem there. Oh, we can't have him watching the semi-nude female prisoners. But it's okay if he's living and can actually touch and feel and do stuff with male prisoners. See, just makes no sense here. All right, guys, in my opinion, Diddy's going to get a sweetheart deal. He probably won't get much time at all. He was an FBI informant or some kind of informant. The FBI, the CIA, the ATF, all these police departments, everybody's corrupt. Everybody's corrupt. Guarantee you there were off-duty police officers and people in law enforcement at some of these parties. And, I mean, really, if you just look at the amount of drugs, the cocaine and all this stuff going through these parties over the last 30 years or whatever, then it would be a huge, huge amount of drugs that he was buying, probably involved in selling, distributing, and that alone would probably warrant 20, 30 years in prison right there just for that alone. But you're not really hearing much about the drug charges. It just says a conspiracy. It doesn't say anything about a drug conspiracy. And usually, when people are involved in conspiracies, they have the RICO Act put on them, and that means that all their ill-gotten gains and possessions are confiscated. See? But we don't see really anything getting confiscated. Because, you know, the FBI won't tell the public if they got the tapes. Oh, we can't comment, it's an active investigation. Well, do you have the tapes, Mr. Ray, on Christopher Ray? Do you have the tapes of the informants and the FBI people, the undercover people, at the January 6th situation? Oh, well, we can't talk about that. That's a pending case, see? And the reason why they come up with these excuses is because they're dirty and they're involved in the criminal activity themselves. In the old days, it wouldn't have been this crap. In the old days, when they had the evidence, they would lay it all out on the table and show everybody evidence. Go look at Grady judges in Florida, the sheriff down there. When they catch a bunch of criminals, a bunch of gang members, they take everything they confiscated from them, all the drugs, all the money, all the guns, all the ill-gotten gains, and they put them on a table for everybody to see. And that's accountability, that's honesty. But we don't get that with these big-time government officials. And the reason why we don't get that is because they're involved in it, and they are just as dirty themselves. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Sorry about that. I guess there's an animal back there in the woods here. I'm way out in the country. Sound like a dog, but I don't know. Sound like something was going on with it, like it was sort of hurt or had some kind of distress. I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but I'm going to pray for that dog, and I'm going to pray for America and pray for you too, and you pray for me too. I would appreciate it. God bless, and take care of yourself. You've been listening to the CJ Real Show.